On this week's FAS TV, we're focusing on farm-based tourism, visiting Jackson's at Jedburgh in the Scottish Borders and Ring Farm near Cupar in Fife. Jasmine and Fenwick have created memorable experiences on their real working farm to suit families, children, groups, couples and individual travellers. These experiences provide an authentic insight into farming life with a variety of themed events throughout the year. In the heart of Fife lies Ring Farm, which has been owned by the Henderson family since 1988. Moira Henderson and her family have created a fully accessible tourism and educational facility to allow people with additional needs and those with caring responsibilities the chance to make lasting memories. Through her own personal experience and a desire to make holidays accessible for everyone, Moira has developed a business which brings joy to many families and groups from across the world, and has seen her receive an MBE for her services to accessible tourism in Fife.
So we are only about 90 acres, and when we had the hens, yes, we had an intensive income coming in. The EU and the changes in regulations really and ill health caused me to think, right, we need to have a change of direction. And so at that point I had an interest in having a care home, actually, because I have a nursing background. But the legislation and all the hiccups with that, I thought, no, that's going to be too complex. Let's stick up a 2-bedroom cottage and we'll make one of the bedrooms wheelchair accessible. And then my friend said, could you make 2 wheelchair accessible bedrooms, because my brothers-in-law have muscular dystrophy and there's a lot of families have more than one person with a disability. And so that was the start of it, and it progressed on until in the background here you can see the Rings cottage, which is 8 wheelchair accessible bedrooms with ensuite bedrooms, and yeah, never thought in a million years we would have that. So our strapline is enabling holidays for all, and we thought we were enabling holidays for all, and then we very quickly realised that for families and groups with those with neurodiversities, such as autism or challenging behaviour, the cottage was designed to be easy to escape from if you're in a wheelchair. So it really didn't tick the box. So we weren't enabling holidays for all, so we thought, oh, we'll stick some glamping pods up. My daughter put an online survey through around different Facebook groups who all had an interest in autism, etc. And very quickly we had 300 responses telling us what they needed. My husband and I were down at Birmingham at the glamping exhibition at the time, hundreds of different types of pods, tents, you name it, even a conker, which I still have a wee hankering to have a conker. But we then realised that we needed lockable kitchens, we needed them to be soundproofed, and so we then started to design our cabins, because there was nothing on the market that was going to tick the boxes. As I say, we started out to build a 2-bedroom cottage. That then went to a 3-bedroom, then a 4-bedroom, and when we went to planning, they said that we would have to bring a road in, so we would have to build a property big enough to justify the road. Now, if God had told me I was going to build an architecturally designed, award-winning cottage, I would have said, no. Do you know what age I am? That just gave us a wee bit at a time. So what we have now is 8 ensuite bedrooms, but within that cottage there are 2 lounge kitchen dining areas, which can be opened up into one big area or closed down. 2 of the bedrooms have studio apartments, so one is specifically designed for people with visual impairments, and the other one has ceiling tracking hoist. We have 3 of the bedrooms have ceiling tracking hoist. We take an ordinary bed out, put the profile bed in, hang up the hoist motor, put shower chairs in. So that's very quickly from being what you would call a standard accommodation into accessible accommodation. We've got other features such as tiling. We've got coloured, black and white coloured tiling for people with visual impairments so that they can see where the loo is. We've got colour contrasts in the house. So it's suitable for lots of different kinds of disabilities. It can subdivide 23 different ways. There's no other property like it. When we were building the cabins, people were saying to us, what do you have on the farm? Because we can't go to the standard play areas, they're too noisy, they're too easy to escape from. So we thought, oh, well, we'll stick up a play barn. And I said to Dougie Bissett, our builder, how big should I build it, Dougie? And he said, well, you'll be annoyed if you build it too small. So you will see the play barn. It's quite large. So last year we had lambing experiences, and we're about to start lambing experiences again. And because we've got the facilities in the play barn for changing place, etc., we've been able to have a lot of schools with children with additional needs, autism, etc. It doesn't faze us. Actually, my husband David taught at the Agricultural College in Cupar, Elmwood College, and my daughter is a primary school teacher. So it is very key for us that we educate people, and we felt that for families and schools with youngsters with disabilities, it's not always easy for them to go out on site to different places. And so because we have the facilities, the toilet facilities, the safety features, then we're able to welcome children from schools in particular, and that can be part, then we're hoping to build that into part of the curriculum for excellence. The benefits are huge because you just need to look at their faces. It's just incredible, particularly those that are in wheelchairs, and maybe to the average person you would think that they are not really able to be aware of anything. I can assure you they are taking everything in, and their senses are heightened. So I would get a lamb onto their knee, even bring a lamb up onto their face so that the lamb's ears tickling their face, and you just see that immediate response, or the sounds of the mother bleating to the lamb. It is just incredible.
Moira's daughter Ruth plays an active role in educating and supporting groups who visit the rings.
My name's Ruth Miller. I was born Ruth Henderson, so the family is here on the farm, and that's why I'm part of it. I used to be a teacher, a primary school teacher. I trained to do that from university straight out and into primary school education. And then I got a bit unwell and discovered that actually education was going to be a difficult career for me to continue in. But from being here at the farm, I'm able to use that a bit. So basically we have different groups, different sizes of groups come, different variations of groups. Sometimes it's families, sometimes it's school classes. And this morning we had a group of special adults who'd come to find out about what we do here on the farm. And they tend to enjoy coming to learn a bit first, because if you take them straight to the shed, sometimes they're super excited and it's just a bit much for them. If you take them here first, it gives us a chance to find out a bit about who we're engaging, and it gives us a chance to speak to them about the realities, the sort of learning part, if you like, of what we're doing here. So when we're here in the shed, I talk through the posters that we've got here. I created these myself, and they are trying to help at different levels of education. So we basically want them to understand especially the terminology that we use, because for a lot of people a sheep's a sheep and they don't really understand anything more than that. So we work on the basis of the male and the female, and we use the different words for those. And then we talk a bit about the lambs, and we talk about how they grow up. In fact, that the lamb that you might see this morning or today is not necessarily the lamb that's having its own babies later on. You know, they grow up, they change, and they look different. And then we talk a bit about some of the facts and figures if there's people here who are interested in that. We tend to ask people to bring their own questions. We don't want them to feel disengaged, so if they can ask us things we can answer, then that works too. We are unique in the fact that we provide complete accessibility for people. That's not something that's easy to find. When I was teaching, we had a class who couldn't go on a school trip because one of the youngsters needed full body hoisting, and there were no destinations that provided that. So it meant that the whole class just didn't go, which I felt as a teacher was a shame, because, you know, he's missing out, yes, but so is the rest of the class. So when Mum and Dad were discussing what to do and how to develop things, I was keen that we should provide an education for people with what we can provide that's their basic needs as well. So we allow full body change in here. We've got a place with hoists. We've got all the accessibility equipment they might need. The sensory room means that kids can come if they've got any sensory issues, and so all these things encompass the neurodivergence, they encompass the physical disability, and it means that this place is available to everybody. When I was teaching, I always loved the interaction with the kids. That to me was the massive important thing. And When they find something they're interested in or they want to chat to you about something, that's the part that gives you the passion, gives you the enjoyment. And so when they're coming and they've maybe never experienced a farm before, and you can see how excited they are to come here, and then you start talking about the things that they're interested in and they just light up, and yeah, that's special.
What's next for Moira and Ruth at the Rings?
So what is next is we're hoping to bring more people to the play barn, but also to develop our camping field. We've been doing it under permitted development, and it's just a field, and we allow them to have campfires, and they love it, absolutely love it. We're hoping to put on a camping dome so that we can put a hospital bed in, hoists in, electricity will be going in, so that for people who have maybe had an accident but loved camping before they had an accident or became unwell, they can then really get back into camping again. Or for disabled, for the Scouts, they often have kids with disabilities, and they'll be able to come and camp with us.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Jackson. This is Fenwick. We farm in the Scottish borders at Caershook, and we run a farm experience attraction on the farm as well.
Caershook is a Lothian Estates tenanted farm. We've been tenants, or my father was a tenant, has been a tenant since 1971. We have farmed various ways, and in 2005 we decided to go dog and stick farming, so we're now all livestock. And we run 200 suckler cows and about 900 ewes. And we also have a visitor exposure which has about 25 Highland cows, and it has some bits and bobs of other animals as well. But the mainstay of the farming is 200 Solaire suckler cows and 900 breeding ewes.
So we started agritourism here, I think in 2019 we started exploring all the different options that might be available to us. I really wanted to stay on farm but not draw an income from the farm. We've got quite a few kids between us, and it makes sense for me to be here in case they're off school or anything like that. So my father-in-law actually dropped a magazine in front of me and showed me the Agritourism Monitor Farm project. So in 2019 I started going to that and developing plans for what we were going to do. In 2020 we planned to open as a visitor attraction, but it held off till 2021 when we opened for the first time. So at Jackson's at Jedburgh you can do a variety of things depending on the season. All season, which runs from the 1st of April to the 31st of October, you can come on a self-guided visit of the sort of visitor-facing section of the farm. So you can go on a farm walk, kids can do a nature trail, you can feed a variety of animals such as pigs, chickens, goats and the sheep. They can see Highland cows. In the springtime we do bottled lamb feeding. In the autumn we do a Halloween trail. And then in addition to that, people can book private experiences with Fenwick, so they can go on a Highland cow tour or a farm tour.
We link agritourism and agriculture together by Jasmine keeping me right all the time. And we have a policy where the agritourism is in one corner of the farm and it can see what's happening elsewhere on the farm, but we're really concentrating on one patch of the farm, so there's only one patch with visitors on, because agriculture can be relatively dangerous, that you don't really want people traipsing anywhere they like. So we have them we'll have walks organised that they go in specific areas, which means myself and other farm staff don't need to worry about meeting a tourist in the middle of a silage clamp. We're lucky the way the farm's laid out that we've achieved that relatively straightforwardly. More or less the farm attraction tells the public what's happening on the rest of the farm and explains why we're doing what we're doing, so when they see things on the way here and the way home they understand what's happening in agriculture.
I think as well, Fenwick is the link between the farm and the attraction. I think when we first set out to do this, I didn't expect Fenwick to love doing this as much as he does now. So Fenwick loves coming to speak to people, and he loves taking the Highland cow tours, and he loves showing our farm toddlers that come in the term time what happens on the farm. And I think that's such a key thing to the success of what we're doing, is that Fenwick loves people and he loves telling them about his passion, which is farming. And the passion that Fenwick shows to people when they visit is just so visible. It's so genuine, and they, you know, nearly all the reviews that we get online mention it was lovely to meet X, Y, or Z, whether it's a staff or whether it's Fenwick, that they just could say how much they love what they're doing. And I think that's really important. It just gives off a genuine interest to pass on his knowledge. Probably the biggest job is making sure everybody on the visitor attraction is safe and we know where they are all the time. That's the key. Yeah. So the farming can carry on its normal routine, except we'll make sure if we're getting cattle in on the road or we're getting sheep in, we'll get them before 10 o'clock when we open. So we open at 10 o'clock because it means we can put animals in and out of the yards before visitors come, which, you know, it's just about making everything work together. You know, occasionally we don't do jobs on a day when we're open. We'll delay them till a day when we're not open, especially if it's a heavy, you know, traffic on the farm road job. We'll make sure we do that in days when we're not open. It's just about keeping all the things that need kept separate, and Jasmine's very good at alerting me when it's not right. So seasonally the farm changes. It's a lovely thing for us to change it up, but it's also a lovely thing for people who live locally, that they can revisit the farm and it's different when they come in different seasons. So at the moment we are just finished our October trail, which is sort of a really unscary but Halloweeny trail where there's scarecrows and lots of different things, and people can carve pumpkins, which are grown on a farm not far from here. Probably the most popular part of our farming year as a visitor attraction is lambing time. So when we're at our busiest, there's the most people at the farm. But it's absolutely brilliant. People come and they help feed the pet lambs. They get to mix up the milk, learn how the lambs are fed. Fenwick usually does it, although other people can run it. And they just get really involved in something that they can actually do. People love to have something that's hands-on, don't they? Lamb feeding, we immerse them in the job. We don't just give them a bottle and say, there you go. We talk them through the whole thing. They mix the milk, you know, and they pour it into the bottles. They do the whole process, so they feel like they're part of it. And they learn why the lambs are here as well. Yeah. You know, I think it's great. Lots of people that visit the farm don't know a lot. They're actually keen to learn a lot. Yes. There's not very many people that come that don't actually care about what's happening. So you've got October, the Halloween trail, and then you've got lambing time, and then the whole of the summer there's a trail where kids can go around and tick off different things that they found on the farm. And this year's trail was a machinery trail, so there were lots of signs with different types of machinery, and it said underneath what the machinery does, and the kids can tick it off and find them all and come back again. So yeah. The interesting thing is town kids, for want of a better description, just need a quiet open space to entertain themselves. Before we opened, Jasmine had some friends come from the town with their kids, and we realised they don't need zip lines, they don't need climbing frames, they just actually need space to explore and do things themselves. And we have lots of interactive things like, you know, there's pedal tractors and sand pits, and lots of kids don't go any further than that. So as a farm experience attraction, we are participants in the Monitor Farm projects for Agritourism, which are absolutely incredible. So when we started in 2019, I had absolutely no idea what we were going to do, whether it was going to be accommodation, bungee jumping, what we're doing now. And by the time the project had finished 3 years later, we had a fully fledged business earning money and paying staff. It just is an absolute roller coaster to push you forward really fast. And being a member of Scottish Agritourism is just a really friendly, open bunch of people that share information, which I've never come across in any other sort of career area before, where if you ask someone that does almost the same thing as you, not that far away, for some advice on how to get better at what you're doing, they just give it to you openly and freely, and everyone supports each other, and I think that's fantastic. It's an agricultural thing that's moved into the agritourism business. Yeah. It's gone hand in hand that we're a member of a WhatsApp group through Go Rural, and there's chat every day about, I'm stuck, I've got this problem, and everybody gets 5 answers. For the public facing, Go Rural is brilliant as well, because it's the same thing. Yeah. They're advertising everybody. Yeah. And I will put a sign up at this farm telling them what Go Rural is, and they can go to every other farm in Scotland that does something similar to us, and it's just that sharing of community, and everybody in that if they go to another Go Rural farm, they'll have as quality experience as they did here. I think that's excellent to be part of, and definitely something I'm willing to be a member of for a long time.
What we do is a fantastic thing for us because we get to understand our consumer. We also earn an income that's not directly related to the cattle and the sheep on the farm. It perhaps gives us some insulation from political decisions that affect, something can happen in agriculture and it wipes 30% of the value off your animals that day. Whereas this gives us a buffer to work on. It happens alongside the farm, it complements the farm. It's, I think it's a great addition to our business that hopefully the business that in 3 years has paid back all its cost will be able to start drawing some money for us from the business. In the meantime, the business has paid all its startup costs off. So the business doesn't borrow any money, hasn't borrowed any money, and it's now cash rich. What's not to like? Yeah. The key to successful agritourism business is make sure you enjoy it. Because if you enjoy it, that enjoyment rubs off and other people feel the enjoyment. If you hate people, don't do it. If you don't want them if you don't want to see them at the back of the farm, don't do it. If you want, if you want them controlled in a small area, don't do it. If you don't want them to think they're in charge, don't do it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think enjoying it is the biggest thing, and I think we're very lucky that Fenwick enjoys it as much as he does, because I probably couldn't talk to people all day. I kind of get a bit tired talking to people a long time, so we're really lucky he enjoys that, and I love doing the marketing. But I think another piece of advice that I'd give someone starting up might just be to start small as well. So we started, our start-off costs were not huge. We didn't put in bigger play equipment because I didn't want to invest a huge amount of money that we had to then pay back to a bank. And actually it turned out great because all the kids here play imaginatively and they don't make a lot of noise. Our house is right there, right on the other side of the fence. And on a day where we're absolutely jam-packed at lambing time and you're in the garden, you can tell there are people there, but it's really quiet, really quiet. But I think Fenwick's one was the best. Just you're gonna have to enjoy it. You're gonna have to enjoy it and enjoy people. And if you don't enjoy it, pay someone else to do it. Yeah. There's nothing worse than coming somewhere and feeling like they would rather you weren't there. Definitely. Pay someone else to do it, because everyone thinks they have to be good at everything and do everything, and then you can earn more money if you don't have staff. But actually, if you just have staff helping you out, you can do so much more, even if it's just with your kids at the weekend. In the next 5 years, I really see our business being able to become stable. So the way I set it up right from the start, because we've got 6 children between us and we've got some with additional needs, I had to create a business where I didn't need to physically be present all of the time. So I hope that in the next 5 years it just continues to become more and more stable without me. So I'm kind of working on making everything so that it's repeatable, so that it's solidly quality, so that I don't have to worry about the visitor experience. I know it's a quality experience. And probably working on check-in systems so that people can come and they can check in even if I've had to run down to the house to feed the kids or to catch an escaped dog or sheep. And I think personally that links straight together with me just having more freedom to grow and do other things, whether it's going away to more monitor farms or whether it's taking the kids somewhere. So yeah.
After such a wet winter for crops, we're moving into a period of nicer weather at the beginning of March, not before time. And fieldwork's beginning in earnest, so we've got fertilisers going on to the winter crops, a little bit of tentative ploughing going on, and early potatoes going in the far southwest, so that beginning of the season. In terms of walking winter crops, people are beginning to go round, make decisions about any that they may not keep, and then look at spring options, which are a little limited. Seeds in quite short supply, so if you're buying seed in, at least ask for the germination so that you can adjust. We're seeing some quite low germinations, and you may be able to adjust the seed rate that you choose. Ideally, you would ask for the diseases that are there as well, so that you can pick a suitable seed treatment. And certainly if you're home saving seed, check your germination, and if you're thinking of going without a seed treatment, then get the diseases tested as well so that you can treat appropriately. Turning to the winter crops, for all some suffered very badly in flooding. Actually, throughout the country, many are looking okay. Disease levels seem quite low, and actually, although we missed autumn weed sprays, weed levels seem quite low as well. So it's just beginning to walk those crops. For winter barleys, looking for things like net blotch and wrinkle that might drive your decision to a T0, otherwise leaving it to the main kind of early stem extension when you'll be managing those diseases at that really responsive timing. And similarly for the winter wheats, yellow rust is often our main driver of T0 decisions there. And again, disease levels seem very low, which is good. You may still choose a T0 for practical reasons if you've big acreages to get round. But otherwise, it's leaving things like septoria and eye spot to T1 and managing them then. And really for all crops, I think, checking for aphids. We're seeing an uptick in virus levels across really all the crops, so check them all for aphids just in case. And again, I think across all crops, think about your input programmes now and kind of plan out the type of products that you want so that you can get a mixture and diversity into those programmes. And then, of course, as you go round the season, you're adjusting the dose rate. But if you plan it out early, you can get that mixture and diversity in, which is good for disease management, but also helpful for resistance management.